Dylan Thomas was born on October 27, 1914 in South Wales to a seamstress mother and professor father. He grew up listening to poems by Gerard Manley Hopkins, W.B. Yeats, and Edgar Allan Poe. Also, he enjoyed listening to Shakespeare's sonnets and beautifully crafted plays. Because Dylan's father was an English literature professor, he was immersed into reading classics and writing from a young age. Thomas's love of literature and poetry formed a strong bond between his father and him. Thomas developed a strong relationship with his father while growing up. Because they shared the love of literature and writing, they spent lots of time together. In Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night, Dylan is talking to his father. During the time that Thomas wrote this poem, his father was going blind and was nearing death. Thomas wrote the poem to his father. Along with Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night, Thomas wrote many collections of poems, including the Notebook Poems, published in 1936, The Map of Love in 1939, and 18 poems in 1934. Although Thomas was primarily a poet and prose writer, he also wrote radio broadcasts and plays, short stories, and films. He also attempted to write a novel, but never ended up finishing it. Thomas wrote Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night in 1951, the beginning of the 50s. The 50s included many medical advancements like the discovery of DNA, the polio vaccine, and the first organ transplant, but did not include any advancements on blindness. The medical advancements saved many lives, but unfortunately, the lack of solutions to blindness did not prolong the life of Thomas's father. Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night by Dylan Thomas. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at the close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Though wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds may have danced in the green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Wild men, who caught and sang in the sun and light, and learned, too late, they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. Grave men, near death, who see with blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my father, there on that sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Thomas repeats the lines, Do not go gentle into that good night, and rage, rage against the dying of the light, to display his struggle and yearn for his father to stay alive. Thomas pleads with his father to fight for life and to not submit to death. Also, Thomas writes each paragraph about a different type of man that does not want to die, showing how many different types of people, wise men, good men, wild men, grave men, have trouble facing death, but eventually cope with death. However, Thomas never wants his father to die, so the last stanza addresses how his father differs from the men and argues that he should never stop fighting to stay alive. In addition, Thomas utilizes nature to portray his strong message of pushing back against death. Thomas includes references to the sunset, darkness, meteors, and the ocean to show how everything precious goes away eventually, just like how life floats away. The sun eventually sets, darkness turns to light, meteors fly across the sky and disappear, and the waves rise and fall, erasing the marks of life. The unpredictable and unexpectedness of the sun, moon, meteors, and ocean compares to how suddenly death takes people. Thomas wrote Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night in the villanelle form, which is a 19-line poem where the first and last lines of the first tercet repeat at the end of the following tercets and conclude the final quatrain to conclude the poem. Some people believe that this poem was the first villanelle written, but others argue that villanelles previously acted as Italian and Spanish songs. Thomas presents an ABA, 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 ABAA rhyme scheme, utilizing it to create a rhythmic poem. Since villanelles may have previously been songs, the rhyme scheme creates a flow similar to a song. Thomas creates a powerful tone to show how much he wants his father to stay alive. The tone of the poem displays the tight bond between Thomas and his father because the reader can feel the urgency behind Thomas's words. The repetition of words and phrases creates a sweet sound for the ears. In addition, Thomas includes the phrase "sing the sun," which exemplifies alliteration, the repetition of the S sound. All in all, Thomas uses the language chosen to portray his yearning for his father to stay alive. Some analysts think that Thomas references the idea of the valley of death in the last quatrain by saying they are on that sad height. However, I don't think he was referencing the valley of death. I think he was just talking about how his father was so near death that he was already on his way to heaven. Some of the confusing lines are, and learned too late they grieved it on its way, and because their words had forked no lightning. The line, and learned too late that he grieved it on its way, means that they grieve their death after it's too late to stop it. Also, Thomas uses that line to show how men try to do good deeds in life, but once death creeps up on them, they can't stop it from overcoming them. The line, because their words had forked no lightning, means that the intelligent men's writing made no impact on the world, so they cannot peacefully submit to death because they don't feel as though they have served their purpose. All in all, the poem, Do Not Go Gentle into That Good Night, shows Thomas's love for his father because he pleads with him to not submit to death. He just wants his father to hold on to life so that Thomas won't lose him.